Have you ever heard the phrase, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me? I don't know who said it, but they were definitely lying. Welcome to the 2020 New Testament Challenge. Today we're in James chapter 3. You know, words, they can cut and they can hurt. Words can linger. They can even echo in our minds for years. And for some, it can even last a lifetime. We simply play the tape of what someone said over and over and over our entire lives, and they can even set the course for how our lives will be. We need to be very careful about words. Here in James chapter 3, he spends an entire chapter on the tongue. Here in chapter 3, as you read through this chapter, he's going to be talking about something very small that has great effect. He talks about a bit, a rudder. He talks about a fire, a dangerous animal. He talks about a spring and fruit. As we read through chapter 3, we learn that bits are put into the mouths of horses, and with that little bit, we can direct that large animal wherever we want them to go. A rudder. Great ships are steered with just a small rudder in the back of them. The tongue, it's very small, but as we read, it makes great boasts. A fire. A small spark can set a forest ablaze. The tongue is also considered a fire, and it can set our entire lives ablaze. All kinds of animals can be tamed by man, but here he says, who can tame the tongue? The tongue can be used for blessing or for cursing, and it should not be that way. God did not create us to do both. He even gives the example of a spring. Can fresh water and salt water come from the same spring? No, it can't. Likewise, our tongues should not be used in the exact same way. We should not be cursing at one moment and then blessing another. Do trees produce different kinds of fruit? No. A tree produces what it was made for. And we were made to be like God. We were made to bless, to tell the truth and not to lie, to bless and not to curse. Someone once said that great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. When you think about it, God gave us 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. There's a lesson in that itself. James chapter 1 verse 19 says this, "Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." We need to take very seriously what we do with our tongue. There was a man that I once heard about who was a professor, and he would travel from one city to another giving lectures and teaching. And he would give a challenge to the people that were listening to him. He would say, I need volunteers, those that would be willing to go 24 hours without saying anything negative about someone else. I need you to volunteer. He said, very few people, no matter where he went, actually volunteered. They didn't think that they could do it. And then he gave this truth. If someone cannot go 24 hours without taking a drink, they're an alcoholic. If someone cannot go 24 hours without taking a drug, they're an addict. And if someone cannot go 24 hours without talking negatively about someone else, the truth is that you've lost control of your tongue. I also heard about a teacher once. This was a long time ago. He wanted to teach his student a very important lesson. So he took the student to the top of a tower. He had a feather pillow. He cut the feather pillow and then he shook the feathers all into the wind. Well, those feathers, they traveled everywhere. And then he turned to the student and he said, now I want you to go and gather up all those feathers. Well, the student looked and said, it's impossible. They've gone everywhere. And then the teacher said, this is the lesson. Your words are just like those feathers. They travel everywhere, and it's impossible to gather them back together again. Therefore, be very careful what you say, how you use your tongue. That's what James is talking about here in chapter 3. The tongue is very small, but it has great effect. So we need to ask God to help us to control our tongue. We need the Holy Spirit. May we also learn the lesson of the tongue. You can't take back what you say. Thank you for joining the 2020 New Testament Challenge.